Quality and box office results do not always add up, and that goes both ways. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 bad horror movie sequels that made money.
I am talking about a potentially important work here. I'm talking about a mega hit. This could be mine in cold blood.
For this list, we're looking at horror movie sequels, including those considered a prequel, that despite being widely considered as substantially inferior to their predecessors, still managed to perform well at the box office. If you like what you're hearing, be sure to check out the full song at the link below. Number 10. Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension. Reportedly filmed on a budget of only $15,000, the first Paranormal Activity film made just shy of $200 million. And with that, a franchise was born. Sadly, it has been a rather uneven one. The first installment holds a score of 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, but its immediate sequel was less well received. The third entry was considered a partial return to form, only to give way to 3 rather terrible follow-ups.
I believe that this is no coincidence, and I believe she's part of a prophecy.
With The Ghost Dimension, Paranormal Activity hit rock bottom, but name recognition still won out. The film added another $78.9 million to the franchise total, against a budget of just $10 million.
This?
How would we have that?
I don't know.
Number 9. Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. The Blair Witch Project, written and directed by filmmakers Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez, was a cultural phenomenon.
I insisted on everything.
It was unlike anything cinemagoers had ever seen before, and is credited with popularizing the found footage genre. Having generated $248.6 million on a $60,000 budget, the film was immediately greenlit for a sequel. When the filmmakers expressed their desire to let the initial buzz die down first, distributor Artisan Entertainment brought someone new in to direct the rushed sequel.
You know, if you don't believe in the Blair Witch, then why the hell did you bother to come?
I thought the movie was cool.
It bears little resemblance to its namesake, was written off as a run-of-the-mill horror, and was nominated for numerous Razzies. Sullying the Blair Witch name, it still earned a respectable $47 million.
What is this?
What did you make us do?
Number 8. Sinister 2. Released in 2012, the first Sinister delivered serious scares and had a compelling premise involving a long history of mysterious family murders.
He would take possession of those who saw the images and cause them to do terrible things. Or in some cases, he could even abduct the viewer into the images themselves.
From a budget of just $3 million, the film earned $87 million and was mostly well received. It embraced a lot of cliches, but was also downright terrifying. Unfortunately, when it came time for the inevitable sequel, all the exciting twists, turns, and shocking reveals were all played out.
Is it the writing?
More matter of content. You don't seem to care much for our profession.
Given the success of its predecessor, Sinister 2 still managed to generate $54.1 million against a budget of $10 million, but it was critically panned and generally dismissed as an unnecessary sequel.
Well, that just might be the worst day of that guy's life.
Number 7. The Ring 2. When The Ring hit theaters in 2002, horror buffs were pleasantly surprised to discover that this Western remake of the Japanese hit Ringu was actually good. It was so successful at the box office, it inspired a wave of Japanese horror remakes by American studios. It also inevitably gave birth to a sequel. Credit where credit is due. DreamWorks actually tried to make a quality film. They even brought original Ringu director Hideo Nakata in to direct, but it was all for naught. The film's story was just too cliched and uninspired.
We didn't do anything wrong. We did what anyone would do.
Despite flopping with critics, it raked in $161.5 million. 2017's Rings was even worse, but also turned a tidy profit.
There is nothing about that girl that's worth being curious about.
I need to see this through.
Number 6. The Final Destination. Despite generally negative reviews, one thing has kept people coming back to the theater for each subsequent Final Destination film: the captivating premise that you cannot cheat death, and the ingenious ways in which it catches up to our doomed heroes.
In death, there are no accidents, no coincidences, no mishaps, and no escapes.
Before going out on a high note with Final Destination 5, although there are plans for a reboot, the series hit a creative low with the fourth installment, which lacked the franchise's trademark macabre creativity.
Don't laugh, but we stayed up Googling premonitions, visions, signs, things like that, just to see how much information we could get.
Of course, if you make a Final Destination film, the fans will come. And sure enough, it still made $186 million.
Would it kill you to be sensitive?
I don't know. I never tried it.
Number 5, Scream 3. All long-running horror films get stale with time, but you would think that a meta-horror film franchise exploring the tropes, trappings, and cliches of the genre would know better and stop before it became a parody of itself.
Hey, we're not finished yet.
With the first Scream film, Wes Craven delivered a delicious vivisection of the genre. Scream 2 showed that Craven still had more insights into horror cinema worth sharing. Then Scream 3 happened, and everything that made this series remarkable went out the window.
Well, all I know about movie trilogies is that in the third one, all bets are off.
Craven did the unthinkable and delivered an unself-conscious, cookie-cutter horror sequel. Given the Scream reputation, it still generated $161.8 million, but it left fans and critics feeling sorely disappointed, if not downright betrayed.
If this killer does come back, and he's for real, there are a few things that you gotta remember. Is this simply another sequel? Well, if it is, same rules apply.
Number 4, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Oof, one look at that clunky title and the filmmakers should have known to pull the plug on this sequel.
No way, are you crazy?
But hey, if all they were interested in accomplishing was a paycheck, they made the right choice. The first film, I Know What You Did Last Summer, wasn't exactly a masterpiece, but with its attractive cast of up-and-coming young stars, solid scares, and a novel premise, it performed well at the box office.
I don't think we're that powerful, Julie.
When its sequel came out the following year, well, it too performed well at the box office. But that's about the only good thing you can say for it. A blatant rehash of the first film, it was just kind of boring.
I'm not gonna die on this island! Do you hear me? If you want me bad, come and get me, I'm right here! But my grave stays empty!
Number 3, Annabelle. A tightly written and well-acted horror film set in 1971, The Conjuring won over fans and critics alike, proving that a good tale of haunting and possession still held appeal and potential. It also teased an infamous doll by the name of Annabelle, which had fans begging for a spin-off or sequel. We got one the very next year, and it left us wishing that Annabelle had sat on the shelf a little longer.
Where did you find her? I mean, do you know how long I've been looking?
I know.
A testament to the doll's compelling tease in The Conjuring, Annabelle made $257 million on a production budget of just $6.5 million. It wasn't a terrible film, but it fell far short of its predecessor.
How do we stop it from coming back?
Number 2, Jaws 2. The first Jaws film gave birth to the concept of a summer blockbuster and established director Steven Spielberg as a big name. There was no way Universal would pass up the opportunity to cash in on this unexpected hit, and so a sequel was fast-tracked.
And I know what a shark looks like because I've seen one up close. And you better do something about this one because I don't intend to go through that hell again.
Sadly, Spielberg had zero interest in directing it. This was another problematic production, but unlike the first Jaws, this time it kind of showed.
Okay, folks, it's all over. Come on, let's get back to this, all right? Let's break it up.
It's okay!
In retrospect, it's been called the best of the sequels, but that is not saying much. It still pales in comparison to its namesake. Jaws 2 ultimately made less than half of what its predecessor did, which is still a lot of money.
They only fired me, they didn't bury me.
If this list proves anything, it's that you can make a bad sequel no matter how beloved or popular the franchise. However, people will still buy tickets, so ultimately you may still get paid for it, which isn't a great moral. Anyway, I bet you have an idea about number 1, but in case you don't, let's run through the dishonorable mentions and then we'll find out our top pick.
Stop it. I swear to God if you don't stop it.
I think you will find that
Things have changed a great deal since your time.
I doubt that.
We're not flying blind here, you know.
No. Please, no.
Yeah, 100 feet deep, 100 years old. Just waiting to suck your ass in. So keep your eyes open.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Saw 3D. Though critics may have met the original Saw film with mixed reviews, it undeniably resonated with horror buffs and cinemagoers, becoming the must-see horror film of 2004.
Let the game begin.
Then, for the rest of the decade, we got one Saw film a year, each one failing to deliver anything resembling the innovation of the first film in favor of increasingly gruesome gore porn. And yet, they all made money. Lots of money. With Saw 3D, the franchise hit rock bottom.
The situation you find yourself in is of your own doing.
The 3D felt cheap, the death traps uninspired, and the dialogue arguably more painful than the grisly murders.
I just didn't want to push it, all right?
Okay, that's the heart of the story.
But hey, it was a Saw movie in 3D no less, so naturally, it made $136 million.
It's quite flattering how many people have responded to my story, and if I can help a few people along the way, then I'm pleased.
Do you agree with our picks? Let us know in the comments. And hey, if you're a fan of the song playing right now, be sure to check out the music video for it right here.